whatever the people they have to work in the country have to be kicked out. Two people used to buy one house. People those who are already in the resident, they used to put it as primary as bit, but the main portion of it they used to have the other person used to have. It's the same people. I was also asked.
One thing we can be sure of is government has constantly failed.
In the last 2 years, there are the immigration, just the students in the just WKC area are like what, 300,000, right? So if you look at the data in 2020, let's go all the way back to 1972. Right? So immigration was very slow. 2010, that is where we came in. The immigration is also almost at the same level. They tried to maintain immigration at same level in each year, right? But sometimes it went low, sometimes it went. But the thing is, if you look at 2020, it dropped like crazy, and that's I'd say thanks to COVID.
Thanks to COVID.
Yeah, because nobody is coming, nobody is flying.
Why would we see a drop during COVID? Probably the immigrants did not travel during that year.
No, the thing is, there's no flight.
So we shouldn't see any dip, right? Like we see a dip. Like
No, nobody came. Even the students, they were asked to take course from home. Right? People, even the college students, some people they finished their course from home.
Which means zero number, zero head count did not come into the country. Why do we see some?
Yeah, that's why there's a dip there.
Maybe a lot of people left.
I think so. Probably.
I don't think people left from here.
Well, there is sharp rise in that too. A lot of people are now, going back.
If people are leaving, they will go to US.
A lot of people are even moving to other, let's put it, friendlier economies or whatever. So like, for example, I've seen a lot of influencers and people moving Middle East because of their low or no tax benefits. There's also a lot of founders actually in the tech space that have gone back home in India to try and work there, since now it's a more business friendlier environment than before. So
yeah, but if you look,
I'm thinking, is this a target which they didn't reach? Because usually every year they have certain target of like getting the immigrants or like target. So they didn't reach the target. So that's the reason it was in minus. So that can be pushed to the next year.
You can see up to 2015 or I think 2016.
Right.
The target is less than 100,000. And in 2016, I believe some magic happened here in Canada. Right?
true magic.
I don't know. Some magic happened here. And to be honest, I was supporting him for a long time. I don't vote. Right? I don't have vote. I am not voting now. I may get soon, but the thing is, I'm not voting. I did not vote for the past 4, 5 or years. I did not, because I'm not eligible, right? I was, because when we landed, somebody, our relatives or whoever it is, they said, oh yeah, the government should change this, that, blah, 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 and they started talking about liberal government. Back home, all the people are Congress. From back home, people supported Congress, and I am anti-Modi. People here may get angry, but I was anti-Modi, by the way, right? As soon as 2019 came, things started changing, or blah, blah, blah. But 2016, some magic happened. If you look at those charts,
when was that time that US election happened?
2016.
Okay, that's the reason the magic happened.
No, there is a... this is Canada.
No, the reason is, there is a good number of immigrants into the country because of certain decisions that were made, by the elected president. Even if it was not rightly, it was applied as a rule, just by spreading as a news, like this could be possibly applicable for people, to get impacted with. They started looking for option, and the nearest option for them is to be
and you see
North
the same
America.
pattern now, right? With the recent election, a lot of people are now planning to move Canada because that's more, I want to say, more liberal in the sense.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the reason. But if you see, there is a steady increase.
No, there are two things.
That's like 100,000 people almost every year.
No, there are two aspects. In 2016, that could be one of the possible reasons. It cannot happen unless otherwise the gate is wide open here in Canada, right? And if the policy applies here to allow as much as immigrants to come in, which is something what we are expecting to be controlled by the government or by the associated delegates, that did not happen yet. But if there is a certain limit which is set, I think US does that, in a specific year, if there are workers that needs to be allowed into the country, legal immigrants, if they want to get a work permit, in there they call it as H visa or L visa, there is a count applied to it.
Yes.
If it, and there is one point in time, I think even now it is applicable. If the number of applications are going beyond the expected limit of the person who can enter into the country, the way how they approach is, it may look funny, but they go on a lottery system. All the applications will go on a lottery, and whoever get picked, like if 100 eligible candidates are allowed into the country, let's say 500 applications ended up for that 500 entry into the country, they do a lottery to pick those 100, and only those 100 people will get into the country.
Yes. That's right. So they make the working part easy, but the naturalization process into becoming the green card holder, permanent resident, or a citizen is more tough.
Mm-hmm.
And like there is no other way to put the immigration problem. Honestly, like you can pull up as many charts as you want, like either, and which is the government is horrendously incompetent, or they need to be more transparent and upfront about the problem. Like, okay, what exactly type of immigrants we need? Have we done some sort of thoughtful exercise on deciding, okay, we need these people, these fields, whatever, and which is definitely not done anyway. So you need to do that, and are we bringing the right people in through that process? So either the government is incompetent, or they need to be more transparent about what type of thought process are they putting in before bringing in people.
Yes. So that is showing, right? Something changed. 2016 government changed. Nothing changed. And then if you look at in the past, I did mention in the past, like when we came here, the number of applicants was increased by 25,000, whatever it is, right? And we can see that on the data there. But by the 2020, COVID came, so they had to close all the shut down everything, right? So that's all done. And after that, I don't know for some reason why it is almost like 430,000 people came in legally. Right?
So like in 2016 when the US elections was done, so it has there was a lot of restrictions for the immigrants from 2016, like when the new government started. From that time onwards, the immigrants started flowing through Canada, because all the companies who are visa holders, whatever the people they have to work in the country, has to be kicked out. So, but the companies cannot lose their revenue. So that's the reason they have started their base offices in Canada, so that immigrants used to get work permit easily when you invest some money in the Canada. So the companies already invested, so that rather than sending back to the country, so the same time zone, they make them the people to work in Canada. From Canada, sorry, I mean to say.
And
so the people used to work.
It is equal in income to the
equal, and also they're paying in Canadian dollars, and that is also less, and they're earning the money, and also that they are getting profits. So and make them people work from the same time zone. So that's why the immigrants from 2016 started. After 2020, it was completely zero immigration. And what was the problem was the Canadian government expected given the impression that you will get a residence easily in those times, because there was a draw for 72 points. The people those who are in Canada got PRs, permanent resident, for 72 points.
Yeah.
So that impacted whole world, wherever easy immigration. Okay, every Indian or maybe any other countries, they think of that. Okay, Canada is a easy pathway for the PR. That's why 2020 impacted everyone. Started flying to the people, packing the bags for US and also the Canada. That's the reason the immigrants has been flowed, and that's the reason the immigration crisis, everything. But the immigration failed to stop the limit.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there is no housing, it's not there, and because there is no proper infrastructure. Of course, there is a place-wise, Canada is the biggest country like Russia, but still there is infrastructure-wise, there is nothing. So the housing is not there. So they don't have any plans for that. But they only thought whatever the budget they had, everything has been distributed in COVID. So they want to generate the revenue. So that's the only way where they can get the money out of it, rather than going for the bank taking the loan from the World Bank. So that's the reason the only place where you can generate the revenue is getting the immigrants. That's why like
Yeah.
they pay the taxes and everything there. But of course they fail to think about the future because how they can accommodate job wise. And also there's one more thing, the job crisis. Yeah, when they came, I don't know why the government has allowed 40 hours for the students to work.
That's
Like,
good.
when the people started coming, like they have asked them to like work like after COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people started working 40 hours everywhere.
And I think liberal, sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
I think the liberal government on that point, and Trudeau specifically, he said that at the time we had it, and again, I've not seen the data or anything, but at the time we've needed workforce, and because they didn't want to put Canadians at risk on the front lines, be whatever jobs that it, and hence why the students were allowed to work extended hours, past their limits while they're still studying.
But yeah, that increase, like at that time, like the limit has been increased, like 20 hours to like 30 or 40,
40, yeah.
after
I think
COVID.
it's- yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
after, it's not in COVID time, after COVID also. Because it made like 30 hours like for people. And every employee, they don't want to train new people for paying additionally. Like next year, whoever came for as students, they don't have a jobs because they already having a full-time job. Whoever working like came 1 year before, like they already trained.
It is not that 40-hour issue. 40 hours is the issue, right? They brought in 400,000 people.
Yeah.
I would say 300,000 people. But the thing is, there is no job opportunity anywhere. It's not just because of the kids coming, right? There's no jobs in the market. Right? During COVID, productivity went down, everything went down, prices rose again, like inflation increased, everything went up. And companies are not ready. Actually, but after 2021, I think companies started cutting jobs. Production went down and everything. It's not just some part-time jobs. Right? Everywhere the jobs are losing. People are losing jobs during the time. And then they started increasing the amount of people that they can bring in. I don't know. That's poor planning, as Meet said. Right? And I do not agree with.
Maybe I think in a different way because I was thinking of because COVID, there are a lot of recruitment happened. As I say, I never seen that much recruitment in IT or anywhere. Even the people have recruited a lot. But I feel that because of the war, what it started after the war crisis, like the gas prices, everything went up. That's where the US getting started laying off because the people scared of money. There is no money in the.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm
reason
saying.
they
So
are cutting off.
2021, it started. Everything started there. Gas price went up, water price increased, inflation increased overall, right? And then companies started cutting jobs and everything. But in spite of that, 2023, if you look at that, the number of it's not just students now. I'm saying, right? In 2023, people came in as refugees. They just allowed. I just mentioned at the beginning, right? Somebody came. A team of 14 people came just as tourists. I don't know who. Somebody might have sent them from back home, right? But they came as tourists and they said, you have to go either as a refugee or you have to go back home, take next flight and go back, right? And these people came here, they're struggling. This guy, I don't know, I did not ask him how he's making money, how his life now is, but still, he said he's feeling very hard. But the thing is, the amount of impact, the amount of impact that immigrants have on the market is way too high. But if you look at X or whatever it is, the number of complaints or issues that people are raising in terms of housing crisis or hospital or healthcare or whatever it is, right? I would say that also increased. Right? I would say I do not agree with how house prices are increasing because of these immigrants. The number of 300,000 students coming in, I don't know how they increase the prices of the house, but in terms of healthcare, we had a lot of impact on that, right?
I think again, multifaceted problem. One thing we can be sure of is government has constantly failed. We've had the COVID crisis, the wars in Middle East or Ukraine. All along, government has failed to adapt to the policies, make sure the policies and everything change, like immigration numbers, for example, and stuff like that. I think they failed to adapt to the rising crisis or any crisis, if at all, like going into the whole thing, starting from 2016 all along. Even during peak COVID, they kept their numbers without going back and looking at what effects it's having on housing. And then on the housing point, I just recently saw think students pay 10 to 20%, 10% more in rent than
Yes.
any other Canadian.
Exactly.
So they're
rent-
quick turnover.
Exactly. So they should have an impact on rental market.
Yes, which in turn has an impact on the housing prices because you go to buy any commercial building,
Well, there is no money in the market. So from 2020, there's no market. So I would say 2021, there's no money in the market. People are struggling even to meet their needs. Right? I heard people are taking loans, like personal loan or whatever. Where people started using their credit cards, and I think 90% of credit cards, the holders, they're maxed out.
Yeah,
During
and
the-
you've also
So
seen
how-
a lot of people are cutting on back groceries.
Exactly. So how is that then these people can afford buying new houses at that time? And that is the time when housing market started picking up. So there should be somebody from outside that started buying these houses. If not, nobody from Canada can afford. No, I would say.
I disagree. So, okay, so look at Canadian real estate as a whole. It is an appreciation market. People are banking just on appreciation. There's next to no cash flow. Even right now, there's no cash flow. The reason why people are banking on appreciation is the market has seen 2x, 3x in short period of time. Like if you bought a house 10 years ago, now your price is all close to double or whatever. And people basically leverage that to get another house and it cascades to owning multiple properties. Now, why is appreciation being so I want to say exponential or like the growth in appreciation? It's because of obviously the demand. We've not demand and supply, so we don't have enough homes to match the demand, and hence why a couple of years ago, actually, this is COVID when I renovated my house. So I know a guy. So he's an HVAC guy, the HVAC guy. But anyway, so there was a plan of 96 or 99 homes, new construction coming up, and there are 6 guys applying, trying to apply, get their the registration or whatever. In I think 2 minutes, the website basically crashed. Out of the 6 people, only 1 person got in. And on the second round, he got out. So you have like hundreds of thousands of people trying to bid on or get a new construction home, and while you're building 96 home community, so it naturally reflects on the prices, and that's why we've seen the price go up.
Yeah, coming to this price going up, cost of living. And that may not be directly related to whatever we are discussing now, but that may be related to whatever the price increases, inflation I would say, and then tax increase.
Yeah,
Carbon
through
tax
COVID,
increase.
a lot of economies. Well, number one, we printed a lot of money. And a lot of economies. U.S. printed a lot of money. They printed more money in the last few years than they have in the than required in the 4 years or whatever. So
They printed the money, but like in 2020, like with COVID arise, like of course, like a lot of people lost their jobs and all, but yeah, still the economy to meet that, like the government has reduced the interest prices max to like below 2. Of course, it never happened. I never seen the prices like below 2% of interest rates. So that like everyone started buying like the houses, like because it's a 2%, right? Like everyone started like okay, and also 5% deposit has been like started from the government. So like the new policies came. So the people whoever got the money, they started putting in the like, and also like there are a lot of savings over the time. Maybe the people like I can say maybe the people those who are earning the daily wages and all maybe struggle for some time, but still the government is paying more than what they were expecting. But everything was saving, and the companies were saving, and people those were commuting, they all were saving in that year, and they started buying. They're bidding, even mostly Asians. Maybe of course maybe Asians are greedy. First thing like they will come up with a lot
sorry
of money.
to cut you there. I know it's not about people wanted to buy their their dream home, but if you see I see a product, I see an apple for $1. I see the apple is worth of $1. Would I still go and buy that $1 apple for $10? right? As because I have money, or is that I'm because I'm greedy, that makes it different, right? Like,
Well, it depends on the need, right?
yeah.
If you need it, you'll buy it.
Exactly, right?
No, so I need it. Is that I'm affordable to do that? Like, to buy that apple for $10. So when the interest rates went down, I understand people wanted to go buy things for 5 times or 6 times more than the worth of the.
So sorry. So the interest rate has already been close to 1.0 before COVID. It was always hovering. Like people were buying in 2018, 19. People were buying cars at 0%, and even the homes were at like 1.5 variable at 1.5% before around 2020. Now, after that, they printed more money to help support people with their day-to-day expenses. And then you saw inflation, and to control that, they started raising interest rate. So I think that was what happened. Now, again, government so the reason they printed money was to help support Canadian workers. They put and this gets into the whole COVID thing. Like, why was there such an extended, strict lockdown on people, on businesses? Businesses were forced to be shut during the time, and economy basically was in a standstill. So the housing crisis got affected like everything else with the COVID crisis and whatever, but the demand was there all along, which is why the prices kept up. The appreciation of the properties kept raising higher and higher. And again, it's not always is it worth? Well, it's supply and demand. If there is short supply and you have a lot of people wanting that, the prices are going to reflect.
In 2020, there is a dip in the number of immigrants into the country, and at the same time, when we say there is a COVID crisis, people did not have job. They had to be in the lockdown, and the business were not up and running well. As basically the same immigrant is still there in the country, and the money printed and distributed for the people who are really struggling is to fulfill that need, right? I'm talking from the common grounds.
Yes.
And now, what makes the people to go and buy something for higher bid, on buying something? It should have been a need before COVID as well,
And there was,
and when it is a crisis time, will people be encouraged by themselves to go and buy something for higher amount than how it's supposed to be bought originally? Just thinking from a common ground, right?
Yeah. So are you saying, was it right to buy the house at the?
Well, it's good to buy, right? Like,
No, but at the price that you're saying. So the point you're making is the prices were exaggerated. Obviously, like the house prices were inflated. The houses are not. We know for sure houses are not worth that much. The construction, like drywall, it doesn't take much to put in the furniture and everything. But why is there a strong demand?
Yeah. So banks know that this property may not have the worth of, let's say, or 1 million. Like, I'm taking just some random property.
And at one point, actually, bank just stopped doing appraisals.
Yeah.
they were just approving loans left,
Yeah.
right, and center, just based on which region you're buying and whatnot. But and by the way, a lot of people also over leveraged in the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why you see a lot of homes for sale right now, after COVID. Because, like I said, people had, let's say you bought a home like 5 years ago, and now you're sitting on like at least 1.5 whatever time you're sitting on a lot of equity. Now people became greedy. Actually, that is the right word. They became greedy. They wanted to pull that equity out and get into because after COVID you saw a steep rise in prices for a short period of time before they started raising interest rate, and people want to get in. Now those people that over leveraged themselves to get into the market also got into trouble with the sharp rise in interest rate.
So basically there are certain products, right, or any amenities that we wanted to buy. there is a price range which is set by it is set by government as well.
No, well, not really. Supply and demand.
Yeah.
It is
Supply and
supply and
demand. Yeah,
demand.
the housing is mostly because the price is the demand is very less. Supply is very less and the demand is more. At that time, like of course, for example, if, as you said, Apple, right?
No,
Like
that is an
Yeah.
No. In 2020, there are no new immigrants.
No immigrants, but the immigrants never attempt to buy. Of course, there might be 10% or 15% might have attempted to buy previously, but maybe I don't know what is the reason at that time and all. People started buying the houses, and when rather than like maybe the mindset, like rather than paying a rent, if the same thing if I pay for a mortgage, I can own a house. Like the people also the mentality got changed and they want to buy when really the people are in the market, where the supply is very less.
Definitely, and it is so
Yeah.
surprising to see how come all those who were in the Canada got the same vision at the same time. And
Well,
right
because
after-
Maybe, and also the government has some policies they mentioned. Even the
First
people
time
those have
yes.
work permit, people like international,
Students.
not students,
But yeah,
how
work
they
permits, yeah.
international
Technical
can buy,
workers, yeah.
like even work permit
Outside
people
the
can, yeah,
country.
outside, yeah, investors.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah, investors,
the word is
foreign
investors.
investment,
Yeah,
yeah.
foreign investors will allowed.
But by the way, there's a caveat. So yeah, foreigners are allowed, but you have to pay non-resident tax, which prohibited.
But that's the reason the people used to. Two people used to buy one house. The people those were already in the resident, they used to put it as primary as
Yeah.
but the main portion of it they used to have. The other person used to have. It's the same people. I was also asked, like when I landed as a PR into this country, I don't say the name. Like there was a person who was there still in a work permit because I don't get a house. I'll put your name as a first. I'll pay everything. I'll settle down. There are people those who do this, and also there is a scarcity, and also
So yeah, the scarcity. I think that's the bigger problem. Now, with scarcity, why have we not built enough homes? Everybody knows, yeah, we
That's a million-dollar question.
and I can answer that now. So, I just saw a reel recently. So of all the costs or that go into the homemaking, government makes 35.6 or 35.9. Anyway, 36% of the cut. So that's taxes on new construction. The builder, so let's say you like I today, I have let's say $10 million, and I want to build a triplex or whatever that may be. My margin, the developer margin on a new construction is only between, depending on the project, 6 to 9%, which is stupid low. So the economy is not rewarding the developers enough to have any skin in the game. Why would you take such a big financial risk, if you expose yourself to such a risk for 6 to 10%? You could basically make that money in any guaranteed investment certificates or foreign fixed deposit or whatever.
But talking about that, right? Their fundamental day in and day out work is into the construction. If I give up doing that construction and want to do like investment in somewhere in financial, in a financial industry, what I'm going to do as part of the construction work that I was.
Well, yeah. I'm not
that's
saying
my passion, right? Like,
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm not saying to all the builders outside to stop building and just go. I'm not saying that, which is very easy actually. We were exploring a project of doing a there's 3 properties we could have bought and converted to a stacked townhouse, like about 42. We could have made, not 42. 15 or 16 stacked townhouses on 3 properties. Anyway, so we were running the numbers and everything. And yes, so if you look at your risk that you're exposing, which is your finance, like the money that you put in, because government there is no new construction loan until you break the ground and you have the structure ready. You're basically 25% into the project, and then there's loans for new construction. So to get to that point, you still have to come up with a lot of cash. So you're putting down a lot of capital for a return that is not, that is not sufficient. So for example, back home in India, friends in the construction business, in Ahmedabad actually, so which is a big city just like Toronto, or maybe comparable population, not really, but anyway, so back home. But the construction margins back home, and again, you could argue, yeah, the labor's cheap or whatever, but the construction margin there is safe 90%. And this was before COVID or the crash, like the economy, because even India had they had the shutdown, the markets contracted a bit. During that time, the margin was still safe 60%. So you could be wrong. You could not do anything basically to try and make your building process efficient and try to control your costs, and you still make 60% on your project.
And the pricing is totally different.
Yeah. So
Goes by
the
square
economy,
feet,
economy. You can. There's the economies are different. Labor is cheap. Worse, whatever.
No,
But
even the price of a construction, right? That is going to be based on the size of the area or the square feet.
depending on whatever, depending on the project, but
It's
whatever
not-
project you make, you're guaranteed safe 60%.
Mm-hmm. But no, if you want to buy a home next to each other, no, they will have it calculated based on a size, or
Yes,
right,
per square foot.
and here it is not based on the size or the feature. If you want to buy that same house, for a better price than how it is listed, they can go how much crazy they could be. But back in the country where you said, right, in India, that's not the case. You'll go by giving a price per square feet or per square foot. This is the price and this is the size of the overall house
No,
construction.
again, sorry. So you're saying the price of new built homes. You're trying to compare the price of price what you pay for a new built home here versus there.
Yeah.
But there's lots of construction there. So if you have the supply is different, right? Like if you have a lot of supply, it's just like cross border down in states. You buy a house in Niagara across, like on the Canadian side, and buy the same square foot on the other side.
Possibly we all narrow down and come to the point of there is a lot of immigrants, where we are all struggling to find a home for.
It's government policies
children.
actually. It's not just like I said. The immigration, like people are. You can't point to the people and say people are the problem, because governments are actively doing what they want, like actively bringing in. They're coming in legally. They're following for the most part, they're following all the, they're working, they're getting their job, they're getting their credit score, they're doing all what's right for the economy and for themselves, and then they've saved enough, or they have some money, which is also good actually. So if you have some money back home and now you want to continue build your life here, and now you want to own a home here, people are also bringing money from back home and investing in their first home in Canada, which is also good, but why are you why is the people being blamed? Why is the government? Like I said, the current statistics, government makes most of the cut. Why is government should not be in the business?
But the government is the one who has to make the rules.
Exactly.
But first of all, these are all private sector. Mostly the government, the government only sets the rules. But when the TFSA or RRSP, when TFSA or RRSP, they're putting some caps there. This is the limit you need to put it. Yearly contribution or whatever. In the same way, they need to put this house property is this much. That's it. No, whoever is applied, first come first serve, they should get it. Doesn't mean that whoever bids this much, it's in the market.
Oh, but then it's not a fair market. Then it's not an open market. So it goes against capitalism. Capitalism is free market. So now you have people who could. Now you're capping. So let's say you've owned a home for however many years, and now because of these laws, now the price is capped, and now you can't make that extra profit. And this by the way could be anybody who's this could be a Canadian that bought home 20 years ago. Now it's capped because whatever. So I think addressing the problem at the root is better